Welcome to the deep dive. We click, we scroll, we interact with websites every single day, often without a second thought.
Hmm.
But have you ever paused to consider just how much intricate thought, planning, and raw technical wizardry goes into creating these seemingly effortless digital experiences? It's far beyond what meets the eye. Our mission today is to take a deep dive into the fascinating world of building a website from that initial spark of an idea all the way to the secure, dynamic platform you interact with, whether it's for buying, learning, or just connecting.
Exactly. And we'll be exploring the strategic scaffolding and intricate layers that are absolutely essential for any effective digital solution. Think of it as peeling back the curtain on the digital stage,
Yeah.
revealing the complex, thoughtful process that underpins every pixel and every interaction.
Okay, let's unpack this and start at the very beginning. Many businesses jump into building a website just because, well, everyone else has one, right? But then they wonder why it doesn't really move the needle for them. Is strategic intent the secret sauce they're missing?
Absolutely. I mean, it's not just some fancy business term. It's the foundational belief system for your online presence. Strategic intent is really about the aspirational plans, the overall purpose of an organization or a business. Without truly knowing your long-term why, you're basically building a house without a blueprint. You're just reacting to every trend rather than creating your own path. This is what drives businesses to maintain competitive advantages or seek new ones, often by forcing them to think beyond their current resources.
Right. So how does a high-level concept like strategic intent actually translate into, real-world results for a business?
Well, it's powerful because it helps managers think beyond existing constraints and achieve bigger goals. For employees, having a clear, concise statement helps the entire team embrace the general aim, giving everyone a sense of purpose and, frankly, boosting morale. It can also dramatically increase creativity and innovation as it forces teams to be future-oriented, to plan for things that maybe don't align with their present resources. For example, it could shift a company's focus entirely, maybe from just seeking total revenue to striving for total market share. That's a huge perspective shift.
That is a huge shift. I can see how thinking big is important, but often the devil's in the execution, right?
Yeah.
For a listener who's perhaps stuck in the day-to-day, what's one concrete step they could take, like tomorrow, to start embedding the strategic intent into their work?
Yeah, good question. A great first step is to revisit or even create your company's vision statement. It shouldn't be a bland corporate platitude. It needs to be ambitious, something that genuinely excites and maybe even slightly scares you because of its sheer scale. There's a saying, if your vision statement doesn't scare you, it isn't big enough.
I like that.
Right. That alone can start to reframe how you approach decisions. Beyond that, continuously reevaluating by asking, okay, what ought we do differently, forces that internal evaluation. Also, when you're analyzing competitors, don't just look at their current resources. Think about their resourcefulness. Think outside the container, How might they acquire new advantages? Even mature markets can hold new opportunities. Yamaha is a great example. They excelled by entering markets many considered stagnant. And finally, invest in your people or in yourself. Opportunities to enhance skill sets. That leads to innovative ideas and makes work more meaningful.
So that grand vision, that strategic intent, it needs to trickle down. It needs to translate into concrete, measurable goals specifically for the website itself.
Exactly. Every website needs clear and explicit goals, and they must be specific, realistic, and measurable. Think about what you actually want it to do. Common strategic goals include, to inform and educate, like a news site or an educational resource. Many aim to sell products or services, your typical e-commerce site. Others are designed to generate leads, maybe through forms or landing pages. Websites can also build brand awareness, promoting brand values and recognition. Then there are those that promote events, provide customer support for existing users, or even collect feedback through surveys and other mechanisms for improvement. Each type has a distinct purpose, you see.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for me. Because it's not just about what you want as the business owner. It's about what your audience needs and expects. It's really all about them, isn't it?
Yeah. That's the core insight, absolutely. What a person desires often drives them more than what they need. Customers may not always articulate their needs clearly, so it's about asking the right questions. We suggest two key ones. First, what do you wish this product to accomplish for you? This focuses on the actual benefit they're seeking, or maybe more indirectly, what problem are you trying to solve? This works well when users have a vague idea of what they want, but they definitely know what's lacking in their current experience.
Getting inside the customer's head sounds vital, but how do you actually do that? What are the best ways to gather these insights without just, guessing?
There are several pretty practical methods. You can use emails and customer contact forms, obviously. You can conduct surveys or even better, detailed customer interviews, social media polls, and just monitoring conversations online. Great for broader sentiment. And don't forget comment sections on your site or other platforms. Ultimately, though, metrics reflecting retention and loyalty, those really help assess whether you've truly met your customers' needs. Sustained engagement usually indicates success.
If they keep coming back, you're doing something right.
Exactly.
Okay, so with all that strategic groundwork laid, it's time to actually start building the thing. And the fundamental language that structures all web content is HTML. Most people have probably heard of it. But what exactly is it, and how does it work with CSS?
Right. HTML, or Hypertext Markup Language, is the language the web uses to define the structure and content of web pages. Think of it as the skeleton of your website. Then you have CSS, Cascading Style Sheets, which controls the presentation and appearance. That's the skin and the styling. When a web browser opens an HTML document, it reads the HTML tags and the CSS roles to render what you actually see as a web page. It's really quite elegant how they work together.
It's incredible to think how HTML started. Just 18 basic tags back in 1991. And HTML5 didn't even become a standard until 2014. What's the biggest surprise to you about how HTML's usage has evolved beyond just browsers?
That's a great question. What's truly surprising, I think, is its widespread usage beyond just web browsers. Many mobile phone applications are actually powered by HTML. We often call them hybrid applications. It's even replaced many traditional desktop applications with web applications. Think Google Docs replacing Microsoft Word, or Spotify replacing iTunes.
Right, I use those all the time.
Exactly. Even operating systems like Chromebook use HTML-based interfaces. It's really everywhere, making it kind of a universal language for interfaces now.
So once you have your content, and you know HTML structures it, how do you manage the potentially vast amounts of information on a website? How do you ensure clarity and findability? How do you prevent your website from feeling like a digital junk drawer?
That's the challenge, isn't it? Content is crucial. Visitors come to your website seeking something specific, and your main goal should be to help them find it easily. It's not a simple task, especially with diverse user expectations. We've got maybe 9 key tips to optimize content organization. First, define a clear information structure. And this isn't something you just decide in a vacuum. You need to ask end users through focus groups, surveys, card sorting exercises. Understand what makes sense to them.
Not just what makes sense internally.
Precisely. Second, start with essential content. Answer the most critical questions visitors have immediately. Third, group-related content based on what visitors believe belongs together, which, as you said, might differ from a purely logical internal company perspective.
That's really interesting. So how we might categorize things internally might not match how a user would naturally look for them at all.
Exactly. It's all about their mental models, not yours. Continuing. Fourth, show only relevant content considering the user's path and their stage in the journey. Fifth, simultaneously, show all relevant content that's actually relevant to that specific stage. Don't hide things they need right then. Sixth, consider different audiences. Think about their diverse knowledge levels and goals. Are they experts? Beginners? Seventh, offer different access points. Maybe separate entries for business versus individual users, or first-time versus returning visitors. Eighth, offer customization where possible. Allow users to determine what's essential for themselves, especially for personalized services or dashboards. And finally, number 9, test before implementation. Gather user feedback before finalizing the structure. It can save immense time and resources later.
Much cheaper to fix a blueprint than a building, right?
You got it.
So once you've organized all that content, you need the map. That's where the sitemap comes in. It acts as the website's architectural blueprint.
This really is like an architect drafting floor plans for a house, isn't it? It provides that framework and can prevent a lot of design headaches down the line.
It absolutely is. A sitemap is truly a visual representation of the content on your website.
Yeah.
It's essentially a diagram of the website's structure. And yes, it can simplify content creation and highlight usability issues before a single line of code is even written. There are basically 3 types, each with distinct functions. The visual sitemap, think flat, 2D drawings. They depict the structure of a domain, show how pages link, indicate flow. Great for usability planning. Then you have the HTML sitemap. That's a structured list, acting like a table of contents for human users, often found in website footers. Lastly, the XML sitemap. This is a specific format used primarily by search engine crawlers, the bots, to understand the domain definition and page relationships. Crucial for SEO. Okay, blueprint in hand. Now we shift to how people actually move through your website. That means crafting intuitive navigation systems. What are the common pitfalls people fall into here, and how do you ensure users don't just get lost and leave?
Right, navigation. Every website has some form of it, and it's absolutely crucial to give your navigation a clear hierarchy. We've identified maybe 10 key lessons learned from designing effective website navigation. First, again, define your information structure, but this time using client-centric card sorting techniques, both open and closed sorts. Don't just mimic your internal org chart.
Focus on the user's logic.
Exactly. Second, don't reinvent the wheel. Stick to fundamentals. Good navigation often works quietly without shouting for attention. Third, keep navigation at the top. It's usually the first thing visitors see and where their cursor often rests. Fourth, put your brand in the top left. We read left to right, top to bottom in English, so it's the first thing seen. Leverage that habit. Fifth, make your brand clickable. It should always take visitors back to the homepage. It's a standard, logical user expectation.
Those first few points sound like really solid foundational best practices. They help with immediate user orientation. What about organizing the actual links within the navigation bar?
Good question. Sixth, order navigation objects based on significance. Prioritize the most crucial and useful pages. Put them first. Seventh, be careful when using drop-down menus. Yes, they condense many links, but they can be unpredictable, especially on touch devices. We generally recommend showing them on hover on desktop, not on click. Eighth, don't hide behind a hamburger menu on desktop. While it works for mobile, where space is limited, it hides all the links and the global structure on desktop, where you usually have plenty of space.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Pretty much. Ninth, pick a primary global call to action button. Think sign up or contact us. Place it consistently, often top right, for clear user action. And 10th, integrate search into your website navigation. It's a powerful feature for users who know what they want, and it's a goldmine of insight for website owners, tells you what people are actually looking for.
And for really large sites, I know there's two-tier website navigation to help differentiate content sections. Plus, with everyone on mobile these days, responsive navigation design is absolutely critical, ensuring those tap targets are large enough, prioritizing mobile user needs. That's huge.
You've hit on a critical point there. You have to think about how users interact on smaller screens, potentially in different contexts. They might need fewer clicks, easier finger navigation. It's definitely not just about shrinking the desktop version. It requires specific thought.
But a truly great website isn't just about what most people see or can easily use. It's about what everyone can access. This brings us to web accessibility. Why is this so crucial beyond just, say, compliance?
Well, accessibility in web design is fundamentally about creating websites that can be used by all people, regardless of their abilities or disabilities. It's about genuine inclusivity and equal access, and frankly, it makes your potential audience as wide as possible. A key part of this involves accessibility labels. This is textual content you enter for certain components, like text boxes or email fields, making them instructive for screen readers used by visually impaired users. ARIA, that's Accessible Rich Internet Applications labels, further enhance this by adding more semantic information to HTML elements, helping assistive technologies better interpret web content. And most importantly, you absolutely must test for accessibility. This includes automated tools, sure, but also manual testing, like navigating using only a keyboard. And crucially, real user testing, especially involving people with disabilities. Their feedback provides invaluable insights into how actual users experience your site. Nothing beats that.
So how do you validate all these design decisions and assumptions early on, before you sink tons of time and money into full-scale development? That's where prototyping comes in, right? Essentially building a draft or model of your site.
Exactly. Prototyping information architecture, or ANA, is the process of modeling that plan structure visually before full-scale development. Its purpose is to test and refine the design and identify potential usability issues early. It saves so many headaches and, yes, money down the line. Prototypes can vary in breadth and depth. A horizontal prototype covers the breadth of features for high-level communication, showing the overall flow between different sections. A vertical prototype, on the other hand, goes deep into the detail of maybe just one single feature, showing exactly how that specific part works from start to finish. There's also the concept of fidelity. Low fidelity is abstract, good for early concept sync sketches or wireframes. Medium fidelity is more general. And high fidelity includes details on looks, feels, behavior. It looks and functions almost like the final product, suitable for final assessment.
And this ties directly into usability testing, which you mentioned testing earlier, but it really sounds like a non-negotiable stage in the design process. Seems like a fantastic way to discover problems before they become massive, expensive issues later on.
It absolutely is. Early prototype testing offers several key benefits. You discover foundational user problems that you might have completely missed. You collect a user's feedback in the form of a story, which is so much richer and more insightful than just hearing, "this button is broken." And it lets you break UI iterations into smaller, manageable portions based on that real user feedback. Testing can be moderated with a facilitator guiding users asking questions, or unmoderated, where users test on their own time, often remotely. Participants can be recruited easily through hallway testing, just grabbing anyone available for quick feedback. Or you might recruit existing users who already know your product or domain. When designing the tests themselves, you can use a direct task, tell them exactly what goal to complete, or a scenario task, give them a broader situation and let them explore how they'd solve it. Similarly, a closed task gives you quantitative feedback. Did they succeed? How long did it take? While an open task provides more qualitative insights, what did they think? What frustrated them? It's all about getting real user input early and often to validate your design choices.
Okay, now let's dive under the hood, into the unseen technical layers that truly make websites interactive and dynamic. We're talking about client-side versus server-side. Where does the magic happen, and why does it matter where it happens?
Right. Client-side dynamics refers to functions that are executed by the web browser directly on the user's device. This uses languages like HTML, CSS, and especially JavaScript. This is what's responsible for that immediate interactivity and real-time responsiveness. You see things happening without needing to reload the entire page. Think of pop-up menus, interactive forms, things like that. Its two key advantages are that immediate response for user actions, which feels great, and fewer resources used and required on the web server because the work is offloaded to the user's own machine.
Okay, so that's client-side. What about server-side?
Server-side content generation, in contrast, is really the backbone of dynamic web page creation. Here, the web server processes user requests and generates custom responses before sending the page back to the browser. This uses languages like, PHP is very common, known for its versatility. Node.js is great for real-time applications like chat systems. Or you might use established enterprise solutions like ASP.NET from Microsoft, or Java for really robust, large-scale applications. A really crucial aspect here is that server-side processing keeps your source code secure, hidden away on the server, not exposed on the client's device.
And it all operates on that fundamental principle of the internet, the client-server model, where our devices, the clients, request information from these powerful central servers.
Precisely. The servers are generally more robust, more reliable, and they're designed to serve multiple client devices simultaneously, ensuring consistent access to information and services. It's kind of like a massive distributed library where your device asks for a specific book and the server fetches it for you quickly and efficiently.
So how is all that dynamic content, the stuff that changes all the time, how is it actually stored and managed then? Especially if it's constantly changing based on user input or other factors.
That's where the database comes in. A database website, or a database-driven site, uses, a database for much of its content. Instead of just static HTML files, the content is stored neatly in organized tables and columns within a database. This is precisely what makes them dynamic sites. It allows them to show personalized content, real-time search results, complex e-commerce product listings, user profiles, you name it. Many content management systems, or CMSs like WordPress, which is hugely popular, utilize the power of MySQL databases on the back end. This allows even non-technical users to easily add, subtract, and control website material through an administrative interface without ever needing to touch the underlying code or database directly.
And the advantages of building a site with a database powering it must be pretty significant, right? It sounds like it offers a ton of flexibility.
Oh, they absolutely are. First, you get true dynamics content that can change based on user interaction or other factors. There's the ease of moving between different hosting accounts, usually. You get the ability to add a shopping cart relatively easily or attach a blog or forum quickly. You can build multiple user profiles with varying levels of access. Think administrators, editors, subscribers. You can provide advanced visitor search functions that query the database. And you can often adjust the look and feature with plugins or extensions easily because the core content is separate from the presentation. Plus, they can often be combined with other applications for even more extended functionality. It makes your website a truly living, evolving platform.
Okay, shifting gears slightly, but sticking with the under-the-hood theme.
Yeah.
In today's digital landscape, security is just critical, non-negotiable. How do we protect all this digital infrastructure and, maybe more importantly, the user data within it? It seems like a constant battle out there.
It truly is. Website protection refers to the measures taken to secure a website from cyber attacks. And it's not a one-time thing. It's an ongoing process, a vital part of managing any website. The consequences of getting hacked are just dire. You could lose as much as 98% of your visitors almost overnight if trust is broken. And you risk lawsuits, heavy fines, and ruined reputations, especially if user data is breached. That's why a defense-in-depth strategy is so crucial for comprehensive protection.
A defense-in-depth strategy, what exactly does that entail? Like layers?
Exactly like layers. It means you don't rely on just one single security measure. It's about building multiple overlapping security controls so that if one layer fails, another is there to hopefully catch the threat. Think of it like a digital onion. You're layering different protective measures. Firewalls, strong passwords, encryption like SSL/TLS, keeping software updated, intrusion detection systems, all working together to create a much more robust defense system than any single layer could provide.
So, flipping it around, what can you, as a user browsing the web, look for to protect yourself online? What are those immediate legitimacy signs you should check when you land on a website, especially before entering any info?
Good question. Two main things jump out immediately. First, look for HTTPS at the beginning of the URL in your browser's address bar. That stands for secure and indicates that the connection uses SSL or TLS encryption. Basically, your information is scrambled before it's sent between your browser and the website.
Okay, HTTPS.
What else? Second is the lock icon, usually displayed right next to the URL in the browser window. But here's a crucial tip. Don't just look for the icon. Scammers can sometimes fake visual cues. You should actually click on the symbol. Clicking it should show you details about the website's security certificate, helping you verify its legitimacy before you enter any sensitive information like passwords or credit card numbers.
Beyond what the website itself shows you, what are some personal self-defense tips for browsing the web more safely day to day?
Yeah, always use your common sense, that's number one, but specifically, never click on a hyperlink embedded in an email from an unknown or suspicious sender. It's much safer to manually type the legitimate website URL directly into your browser. If a website looks unusual, unprofessional, or asks for way too much sensitive information too quickly, just don't take the risk. Close the tab. Look for signs of legitimacy, like clear contact information, phone number, physical address, a detailed About Us page, professional design, terms of service, a privacy policy. Does it feel like a real entity? Read the URL carefully. Watch out for subtle typos and common site names like PayPal instead of PayPal. That's a classic phishing trick. If an offer seems too good to be true, it probably is. Trust your instincts on that one. Free iPads usually aren't free. And always check the properties of any links before clicking, especially if they seem suspicious. You can usually hover your mouse over a link to see the true destination URL in the bottom corner of your browser, or right-click to copy the link address and inspect it.
Okay, so beyond just technical fortifications and user vigilance, a truly robust online presence needs to consider the legal and ethical guardrails. These protect both the business and its users.
Indeed. A big part of this is intellectual property, or IP. This broadly covers creations of the mind. Think inventions, literature, creative expressions like designs, prototypes, symbols, names, images used in commerce. It's all about establishing who is the rightful owner of creative or inventive work and how that ownership is protected legally. There are distinct types of IP. Copyright grants exclusive rights to the author of original work. This covers things like writing, software code, music, photos, videos. A crucial point here. Copyright does not protect ideas, only their concrete expression. The way you wrote it, drew it, coded it. And interestingly, most countries, thanks to the Berlin Convention, which is a big international agreement on copyright, grant copyright automatically as soon as a work is created in a tangible form. You don't always have to register it, though registration offers stronger legal protection.
That's good to know. What about patents?
Right, then there's a patent. This is a legal document providing sole rights to an invention for a set period. It's granted by government bodies like the USPTO in the US. To get a patent, the invention generally has to be proven novel, useful, and non-obvious. And lastly, there's trademark. This is a formally registered symbol or characteristic. It could be a word, logo, phrase, sound, even a smell in some cases. Its purpose is to identify the manufacturer or distributor of a product and distinguish it from competitors. It serves as a form of critical brand protection. Think of the Nike swoosh or the Coca-Cola script.
And wrapped around all of this, there's also the element of organizational ethics, the principles guiding how a business conducts itself, honestly, fairly, transparently. both in its internal operations and its digital presence.
Exactly. That's about principled business conduct across the board. Things like ensuring standardized, fair care for all workers, acknowledging social responsibilities, maintaining clean and transparent financial operations, supporting employees. The core principles really boil down to things like honesty, integrity, fairness, respect, being law-abiding, and accountability. It's about building a trustworthy and responsible digital presence, not just a functional or profitable one. It builds long-term value.
Now, let's talk about the human element of project management, which, let's be honest, especially when dealing with clients, can often be the most challenging part of any development process. It's like navigating a whole new set of personalities, isn't it?
It definitely can be, sometimes more challenging than the code. Recognizing the type of customer you'll be dealing with helps prepare you for the work ahead of time. Forewarned is forearmed, so to speak. Let's look at a few common client archetypes and maybe some general strategies. First, you might encounter the passive-aggressive client. They give very little input initially, seem happy, then maybe aggressively attack the finished product with a lot of specific modifications that seem to come out of nowhere.
Correct.
Patience is essential here, and clearly stipulating the number and scope of revisions in the contract up front is key. Then there's the undervaluer. This is the client who constantly devalues your creative contributions, implies or outright states that your work isn't worth that much.
That sounds demoralizing.
It can be. Here, self-assurance reigns supreme. You have to know your value and stand firm on your pricing and expertise. Don't back down. If the disrespect persists, sometimes you have to be willing to walk away.
And what about those clients who seem to know everything or constantly second-guess your expertise or get lost in tiny details?
Yes. You might have the nitpicker. This client continuously finds minor, often subjective details to change, sometimes changing them back and forth.
Drives you crazy.
It can. Patience is crucial here again. And try to detach. Personally, it's often just their character trait, not necessarily a reflection on the quality of your work. Again, defend yourself in the contract regarding excessive revisions. Then there's the control freak. They want to micromanage every single detail, regardless of your qualifications or their own. They constantly disrupt the workflow with minor tweaks and suggestions.
So what do? Fight them on everything?
Sometimes, strategically, you almost have to surrender some control on minor aesthetic points. Focus on building what they dictate accurately, rather than constantly fighting to implement your ideal design vision for their project. And maybe quietly decide not to feature that project in your portfolio if it doesn't reflect your best work. Ultimately, with any client, clear communication, setting crystal clear expectations upfront in the contract, and maintaining professionalism consistently are your best tools.
Okay, so after all this meticulous work, the strategy, design, coding, client management, testing, how do you ensure the final website works flawlessly for everyone, everywhere across all the different browsers and devices people use?
That's where cross-browser testing becomes absolutely essential. Its purpose is to ensure that web applications provide a consistent experience across different browsers and devices. You really have to test on different web browsers: Chrome, Firefox, Safari, Edge, maybe even slightly older versions still in use, and on different devices, from the latest tablets and smartphones down to older handsets people might still have, maybe even smart TVs if relevant. Crucially, you also need to test with assistive technologies such as screen readers to ensure that accessibility you work so hard on actually functions correctly in practice. Now, it's okay if the experience isn't pixel perfect, identical across absolutely everything. That can be impossible. But the key is, as long as the core features are in some way available and functional for all users. Alongside this, we also have functionality evaluation. Basically, does each feature and function work according to the requirements? Does the button do what it's supposed to do? And dynamic content verification, making sure any content that changes based on the user or real-time data displays correctly and functions as intended in all these different environments.
So the website is live. It's out there. Is that the end of the journey? You've built it. Hopefully they've come. What's next? Is it just done?
Far from it. Launch is often just the beginning of a new phase. Feedback integration is a critical aspect post-launch. It's about getting those insights directly from the actual users, which can significantly enhance the functionality, usability, and overall user experience over time. This feedback can come from lots of places: comments during user testing, customer support tickets or emails, social media interactions, and of course, analyzing usage data and analytics. For dynamic pages especially, you can proactively seek feedback, maybe by requesting ratings and reviews, but you have to find the right moment to ask, not interrupting their flow. Using in-app Net Promoter Score surveys, or NPS, is popular. That quick, "How likely are you to recommend this?" question is a good gauge of overall satisfaction.
Right, the 0-10 scale.
Exactly. You can also engage with savvy support communities, maybe off-platform forums or groups where users discuss your product. Or you might adopt the beta test approach for new features, rolling them out to a small group first to gather feedback before a full public launch.
And the crucial point here, I imagine, is that you absolutely must act upon it once you get that input from your web users.
Right.
Otherwise, they'll quickly feel like their opinions don't matter, and that valuable engagement will just drop off.
Precisely. Ignoring feedback completely negates its value and can really alienate your most engaged users. Feedback isn't just data to collect, it's a conversation to participate in. You need to show you're listening and evolving.
Okay, this all leads us to the culmination of the main project phase, the final handover, and sign-off. It's a huge milestone, the finish line for the initial build.
It is. And it needs to be handled properly. Finalization in web development is basically the process of completing all the agreed-upon development tasks, making those final adjustments based on the last round of feedback, and preparing the project formally for launch or delivery to the client. For a successful project sign-off, you really need to establish clear criteria upfront. What defines done? Usually it means all tasks are complete, all agreed tests have passed, final designs are approved, and key requirements are met. It's crucial to engage key stakeholders, the client, project managers, through final presentations and demonstrations. Show them everything works as expected, and you must prepare comprehensive documentation. This should include a summary of the work done, the final test results, how feedback was integrated, maybe recommendations for future work. This ensures a smooth transition and empowers the client to manage the site moving forward.
And even after that formal sign-off and the big launch, the work isn't truly done, is it? There's still more to consider.
No, you're right. There are critical post-sign-off considerations. These include actually planning for deployment to the live server if it hasn't happened as part of the sign-off, preparing for post-launch support, figuring out how bugs will be handled, who provides ongoing maintenance, maybe setting up a support agreement, and ideally conducting a project retrospective with your team and maybe even the client. What went well? What could be improved next time? It's crucial for learning and celebrating the success. It's really about continuous improvement because, as we know, the digital world never, ever stands still.
Yeah, what an incredible journey we've taken today. From the abstract idea of a business goal all the way through strategy, design, code, testing, and launch, to the tangible, complex product that is a modern website. It's truly a blend of strategic thinking, deep technical expertise, and maybe most importantly, human understanding.
It really is. Every click you make, every interaction you have online is the result of countless strategic decisions and layers upon layers of technology working in harmony, often invisibly. It's honestly a testament to how complex yet potentially elegant our digital world truly is and how much hidden effort goes into making our online lives feel seamless.
So, the next time you browse a website, maybe just pause for a moment, consider not just what you see immediately on the screen, but the invisible architecture beneath it. Think about the strategic intent that might have driven its creation, the countless hours of planning, coding, testing, and feedback that brought it to life for you. What layers of design thinking and data management might be hidden there in plain sight, working tirelessly to make your online experience smooth, useful, and secure?